Hello, it's Kyle here. I had some requests to go over the Sandbox mod and character options for our Project Zomboid Trailer Trash series. So here we go. Okay, let's start with the Sandbox settings. I'm just going to go down the left hand side and cover anything that's important. Okay, world. So big changes here. We set house alarm frequency down to rare, figuring that if we had a house alarm before we got our first car, that would have just been a wipe. We have the locked house frequency at very often, so it's harder for us to break into houses, but that actually means it's harder for the zombies to break out of houses as well. We'll talk about that later. Okay, further down we can see that we also have the initial gas station amount as full. I have no idea the difference between a half full, quarter full or full gas station. I've certainly never used up a gas station. Okay, no change to the nature settings. Sadistic AI. Okay, we had the helicopter once. It's a rite of passage really. Meta events we have on sometimes. I'm probably actually going to turn that off soon. Having gunshots and screams out in the distance I think is actually quite immersion breaking 10 months into the game. Okay, so the loot is all the standard rare apocalypse settings, except ammunition we have at common. Okay, so in the character tab we have some big changes. First thing, we have an XP multiplier of 1.2, so that means we're earning 20% more experience than the base level. That seems like a fair trade-off when we're dealing with sprinters. No starter kit, backpack would have been very handy, no free trait points, bone fractures, rear vulnerability on, all that stuff. So weapon multi-hit is turned on. I'd have to go back and really examine the first couple of episodes, but that may have saved our bacon in those first few days. I don't think we've swung a weapon and hit 2 zombies at the same time in 80 episodes, probably 90 episodes. So that might be a crutch to help you get started. It's really not very important after the fact. All clothing unlocked, we needed that to get our Chloe Price costume. Okay, some big changes to the vehicles area. So we have car spawn rate and recent survivor vehicles on high, so there are lots of cars out there. I'd prefer even more cars than that, so you have traffic jams all over the place and it's actually really difficult to get around in cars. As for the condition of the cars, we have I think it's the more standard apocalypse settings, low chance of gas, low initial gas, general condition low. So lots of cars out there, but they're in fairly dodgy condition. Okay, big changes here again to the zombie lore, so obviously we're playing with 100% full speed sprinters. I've left them weak and fragile. I figure it's a bit like 2 submarines going to battle. Whichever one gets the first shot in is going to win. If you get the drop in it, it doesn't matter if it takes 5 stomps on its head instead of 2. Okay, full transmission, blood and saliva. Takes 2 or 3 days to figure out if you're dead once you're scratched. Big change, cognition. These zombies can navigate and use doors. That's doors and windows. They can actually go through windows really, really fast. Normal sight, normal hearing, damage instruction, all the usual there. Okay, the population settings are probably the most important. Population multiplier 0.3, so we only have 30% of a normal load of zombies. Okay, the respawn hours. This is another big deal. We basically have respawn turned off. Respawn unseen hours 720 means we have to go a month without visiting somewhere for it to even start respawning. Then respawn hours 168 means another week has to pass before it gets some respawn. And respawn multiplier 0.001 means 1 out of every 1,000 zombies that were there will then respawn. So if we don't visit Riverside for a month, 1 week later, if it would have had 5,000 zombies in the area, 5 zombies will appear. So like I said, that's almost off. It does just mean you can't clear an area and then casually wander it later on. You're always going to have a few zombies hiding in trees or behind corners of buildings, so if you just wander around looking through windows for fancy carpet, you're going to get bit. Jumping down to the rally group. Rally group of 4 means outside of trees and buildings they like to hang out in groups of 4. That's probably one of the most important modifiers for a sprinter's run. There's a big difference between peeling apart and fighting a group of 3 or 4 or even 5 zombies versus a group of 12. If you're trying to carefully break into a group of 12 sprinters, well, it's not unreasonable that 3 or 4 of them are going to see you anyway. So I've set the rally group size to be just higher than I would ever want to stand there and fight. Without guns and a car. So if 4 zombies come and attack you at once, if you stand there, you're probably going to die. You might win, especially as they trip themselves over and only maybe 2 get to you at the same time. I could see putting the rally group size up to 5. Any more than that would require a different playstyle. And finally, we've got our immersive solar array mod. We've been running that just with its default settings. After doing a minimum amount of research in it, we're going to take its own suggestion apparently and set the solar panel efficiency down to 12%. Okay, let's have a look at the mods we're using. These have not been static through the entire run. As we've progressed, we've added some mods here and there. Over the course of the run, we've stopped using 2 mods, and we'll probably add some more in future. Okay, so let's have a look at the mods we've got active at the moment in Trailer Trash. We have our 4-color big pen active. It's nice just drawing your map in different colors without having to carry a little pencil case full of different pens. Authentic Z gives us some zombies with more interesting outfits, some unique ones out there. Not that I've really kept a good eye out for that sort of thing. Authentic animations, so you can look like you're about to throw up, sort of thing. We have our heroines mods. We have our Chloe Price outfit. We have a clean dirt mod. I thought that was just a base game stuff. Maybe the cleaning blood is in the base game and cleaning the dirt might be a mod. We have metal rain barrel collectors. So these carry, I think, 800 water. The mod does have them gated behind level 8 metalworking. So really that's not going to be very impactful anywhere early in a run until you really grind the crap out of metalworking. I know there are a couple of metal barrels like this that you can find at the Louisville perimeter, and you just go there and pick them up. Again, in a sprinter's run, just go there and pick them up is not exactly an easy task. Craftable light fixtures. Okay, so we needed this one when we moved into our base that had no inbuilt lights. Yes, we could have just stolen lamps from everywhere, but that way we'd have had an entire base powered with desk lamps, which would look weird. It's definitely nice to be able to just attach a light bulb to the wall. When you put leather patches on your gear, it's just, as it says, the patches are dark leather, not white. So it doesn't look like you have these big glowing white patches all over your gear. Fixed floor. Okay, so all that does is you'll have an area of floor, and some of the tiles will sort of have an alternate appearance, like a cracked appearance, or there'll be like a crack overlay on them, and you can just remove that with a hammer. I don't need a lighter, so you can light up a cigarette in a car cigarette lighter or on a stove. Obviously, we've got our solar arrays on. Recently, we put on the improved build menu, but we haven't really gotten into that yet. Light bulbs live longer. Okay, so because we're in a base that's entirely powered by player crafted lights, normally a house has its inbuilt, ceiling lights, and they don't break. 6 years in the zombie apocalypse, those light bulbs will still be going good. Because they're not really light bulbs. They're just, well, whatever. They're treated differently. In this case, we're still losing 1 light bulb a day in our base. I think that might be because some of our light bulbs are grandfathered in pre-existing light bulbs which still have their shitty durability, but the new ones are picking up are maybe the high durability ones, so maybe that'll start to come off. Main menu art. We have a slight female skin retexture. Mod options, I think you just need for other mods. We've got a more map symbol mod. We can sort of draw in zones of control or alarm. Some other nice symbols like cars and trucks. So more maps. So this isn't adding new areas to the map. This is just providing maps of areas within the map. So we've recently had a map for the trailer park near us. A map for the Riverside Strip on the way up towards Louisville. Rain Wash is another mod that we have, but I don't think we've used. If you're in heavy rain, you can actually just sort of right-click and use it to wash the clothing you're in. Refillable lighters. So once a lighter is completely empty, rather than just disappearing, it turns into an empty lighter, and then you can refill it with gas. The lighter does have to, I'm pretty sure the lighter does have to empty completely, though. You can't just sort of top it up on the way out of your base. So recently I just put in repair roads and repair wall cracks. I haven't even tried the repair roads yet. It does require a bucket of concrete to do, so concrete actually doing something. Repair wall cracks, we've just recently started doing that. It might not even be up on the channel yet. With a bucket of plaster and a garden trowel, you can actually make cracks out of walls. I think you get like 3 or 4 per bucket of plaster. We need this one for our trucks to work. Stack all. Now they've recently, the last patch I think, added some stack stuff, so I'm not sure if we need this anymore. Standardized aiming. Apparently in the vanilla game, when you earn experience after level 5 in aiming, you just earn less. Given that each level, just like all the other skills, require you to get more and more experience for each level, that seems like an unnecessary double hit. Tear underwear, so just to make sure underwear isn't invulnerable and useless, it just lets you rip it up into more cloth. Okay, so this is another big gameplay changer. You can make thread and twine and rope from ripped sheets. So this was the only way we got our tailoring to level 10, by just ripping up ripped sheets into thread. Okay, so we've got a mod here to automatically return equipment to its original area. Okay, so there's our semi-truck mod. Make sure you install it before you start your playthrough. We got really screwed with the trucks and trailers in that we sort of managed to search a whole bunch of the industrial areas on the map before installing the mod, which meant then nothing was spawned there, and the trailers can't spawn in regular car parks. They're just way too big. Weapon condition. I mean, this one's just so helpful. You get to see the colored overlay of your weapons to see what condition they're in, whether they're damaged or not. I'm surprised that's not in the base game yet. And we have working masks, so the gas mask we're wearing should protect us from corpse sickness. Not particularly important. And that's it. That's all we're using, although we do add stuff as we go. Like we have a garage door mod here that at some point we might turn on to make a garage door on the other side of our base so we can drive a truck all the way through it. But this is what we have been using. Okay, and we've never really gone through Chloe's build, so let's have a look at that, even if it's 9 months, 9 days late. So our starting traits were thin-skinned, seems like 3 points. Try not to get scratched or bitten. Now we have been lacerated 3 times, and we rolled the dice and survived all 3 times. I still regret nothing, 3 points. Thirst, 3 points, take it every time. Slow healer, again with sprinters, the only time that's probably going to come into play is if we fall off a roof and break a leg. So don't do that. In terms of actual injuries from sprinters and things, if they bite you, you're dead anyway. If they drag you down, you're dead anyway. If they slow you down so that you can't run away from a fight and there's one or too many of them, you're dead anyway. Don't get injured. Conspicuous might seem like a strange choice. I don't like stealthy approaches, so I would rather the zombies see us from a good distance and come out to play. I would rather a zombie see us from 14 tiles away and come out and attack me, rather than maybe me get to within 6 tiles of it before I see it and it sees me, and it's a more close range engagement. So that's one of those where, well, it's giving you points for something I might have paid points for. Pacifist. Okay, so that's lowering the XP we earn on all of our weapons. That one you could maybe ditch. Depends on what you want. Prone to illness. Don't stand around in the rain unless you've got a poncho. Don't eat bad food. Yep. Smoker. Well, our character's a smoker, so those are roleplay choice as much as anything else. It does mean you've got to make a point to loot more zombie corpses to get more cigarettes, but we probably have 400 or 500 floating in the base at the moment, so we're good for quite a while. Weak stomach. Yeah, again, don't eat bad food. Cowardly. So when you are panicked, you deal less damage, and your shooting is just arse. If you're fighting just one thing at a time, probably not so bad. But you don't have the situations where there's 24 zombies just outside of baseball swing range. You don't get that in a sprinter's run, so it's not as big deal. I believe your character's bravery does increase over time, so 9 months in, it's probably doing fairly little for us. We don't see that panic mood a lot. If I'm going to be shooting a bunch of things at close range, I take some beta blockers. Even if you watch the run, even if I'm just going to get out of my car and go in a house, I'll often pop some beta blockers just in case I fight 1 or 2 things and I don't want to have that debuff. Dexterous. Good if you're doing a lot of building, taking things in and out of your inventory, moving stuff around, looting. Can be useful for like the quick loot, like run up to a shelf, grab something, run off, but again with sprinters you're probably not doing that too much. So that you could maybe ditch. Dexterous. Fast reader. I'd probably ditch that in future. Obviously at this point when we've read almost all the books, I think we have like 2 skill books left to master. At the moment it's only helping us read some comic books and things a little faster. Totally worthless. Did it help us at the start of the run? Maybe it could have, but it probably didn't. It just would depend on how much access to books you have. Since we started in a trailer park, there are not a lot of bookshelves around to pick books up from. If you started in, say, the the rich people houses in Muldra, then you're going to have more bookshelves nearby. You might be able to read that carpentry book before Life and Living does it, read those foraging books, that sort of thing. Wakeful, amazing, take it every time. Baseball player. So this is another one we could have maybe ditched. Probably helped us out early-ish. Lots of long blunt out there, metal rods and baseball bats and crowbars and things. So it made us a little bit better at that starting and has let us advance in that faster. Lucky. I'm not sure if it's helping, but I mean, we have got 4 sledgehammers, so it's got to be doing something. Runner. Definitely take runner. Non-negotiable. Take runner. With 1 level of running, you can run, as in you can jog, even when you have the first level of exertion. Don't have 1 level of running, of sprinting. As soon as you hit that first level of exertion, you drop to a crawl. Running is just a big deal. So we went for amateur mechanic, and we have not regretted that one at all. Obviously, at this point, now that we've maxed out the skill, it's now technically not doing anything for us. Like, we've read all the skill magazines, we've maxed out the skill, so now those are dead points. But it would have taken us 4 times as long to level it up, and it was long enough as is. So, while not strictly required, we've certainly made good use of it. Fast learner, yeah, why not? Keen hearing, we've still had 1 zombie sneak up behind us. But the other 2 that got us in the front. I like it. A little bit of radar. Organized. I never used to play with organized. In fact, I used to play disorganized quite a lot. I like organized now. Very helpful. Makes your bags larger. Even containers around your base larger. Very handy. Handy is an expensive one, but one I almost always include in all my builds because I tend to build a lot. It gives you 1 point of maintenance, which is nice. Your weapons degrade less, and the 1 point of carpentry, so your carpentry skill goes up much, much faster. We are athletic, so we started with 9 fitness. We are stout. We started very weak. Let's go over our skills. So we started with 0 points in strength, and we've managed to grind that up. We're working on level 9. We started with 9 points in fitness, and that's what we've gained. This is why I'm fine to start with 0 strength. I think it's actually a lot of fun. It means in those first few days you can carry barely anything. Like, you're not going to carry around a can opener. If you have a carrying capacity of 6, you're not going to spend 10% of that on a can opener. So by having your strength really low, it really feels like you're leveling up a lot in those early days and weeks and months. Like, every single increase is 2 more carrying capacity, which is huge at the time. Whereas fitness does not go up. It just doesn't. Like, it doesn't naturally go up. Whereas strength does naturally go up a bit just by running around and carrying stuff. I strongly recommend very high fitness. You can start with very low strength if you want. So our sprinting's gone up really high because we started with the 1 level of it, so basically we're getting it 4 times faster. I'm actually surprised that our light foot and sneaking are that high. I know that's not particularly high, but given that we haven't really been doing any of that. Our nimble just ticked over to level 2 recently, because you don't do nimble fighting for sprinters. You're not doing that sort of back up swing dance. We've not swung an axe at something in anger. Wow, that's interesting. Nor have we've probably hit 1 or 2 things with a machete. Our long blunt is coming along okay. Again, 9 months in, if you were fighting shamblers, that would be at level 7 or 8 or something. Very, very high. Sorry, oh, you want to smoke? Fine, smoke while we sit here. Yeah, same as our maintenance is pretty good. So you'll notice our combat skills are not particularly high. Now, part of that is because we have pacifist, which is holding them down a little bit, but I think that's probably the wrong way to look at it around. We have pacifist because our combat skills are not that important to us. I mean, we've got a lot of kills at this point. Favorite weapon's the M9 pistol, and it's never not going to be the M9 pistol. Like, even if we stop using that, we would have to get thousands of kills or something else to take over that. In terms of how our skills are going, yeah, obviously first aid is a joke, electrical's hard, everything else is already finished reading all its books. If I had to change this up, I might have swapped out long blunt and something else would have to go, maybe dexterous. and pick up aiming. Just without the veteran or police officer background, the only way to get aiming is, I think, the hunter, which is like 8 points. So yeah, we'd have to lose a baseball and dexterous and fast reader. I think we could have lost those 3, picked up hunter, and that would have been helpful. Okay, so that's our character build, our world build, and our mod settings. I hope you've found that enlightening. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them as best I can. That's all for now. You have a great day.